You are listening to WESU 88.1 Middletown.
Hipsters, flipsters.
Sir Jon with you here tonight here on Pint of Comics. Listen to that music. It's awesome. Pint of Comics, WESU 88.1 FM, WESUFM.org, streamed worldwide. And if you have a radio app, you're probably listening on that too. I can never tell. I can only tell who's listening on the interwebs, and yeah, it's the same 12 of you each and every single time. All right, I have a guest tonight. First time guest, right? First time guest, sort of.
Yeah, I think first time here.
Yeah, first time on the show. I know I've recorded with you at a couple of shows. We recorded at
That's right.
TotalCon last year.
Yep. I don't know if we did one at GaryCon too or not, but maybe.
No,
who can tell?
I hardly ever record at GaryCon.
You might have been doing it and not known it.
That has actually happened. I have a 6-hour recording from my pocket that I.
That was me. I was in your pocket.
Yeah. Jayson Elliot of Solarian Games, welcome to the program. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody that's out there that doesn't know what Solarian is, would you like to tell them?
Yeah, sure. I think we're most well known for a couple of things. We're known for Gygax Magazine, which we published a few years back. And currently we're known for making the spy game called Top Secret.
Yeah. Awesome game. Because, spy games are cool.
It's fun to be a spy.
It is fun, but what's oh boy. Hear that?
I do.
I got all that crankiness over here. Oh god. Never touch a hot mic, but it's just how things work on Pint of Comics. Anyway.
I have a friend named Hot Mike. Nobody will touch him.
Beautiful. Excellent. We got laughter and everything tonight. All right. So the thing with Top Secret, though, you've got the originator of the game to work with you for this lovely thing, too.
Yeah, that's right. So for people who may or may not know the whole history of it, Top Secret was the very first spy RPG back in 1980. This wasn't too long after tabletop RPGs even became a thing. Dungeons and Dragons was invented in 1974, but it was a small little group of nerds that knew about it. By the time it got out to the general public, it wasn't long before Top Secret came out. So at that time, there were almost no tabletop games that people knew about. And Merle Rasmussen created the very first one in 1980 when he was still a student at Iowa State University. Yeah. And he went to work for TSR. They published that for a while. And then there was a second version called Top Secret SI that came out a little bit later by Doug Niles. And then it went out of print and it was gone by the 90s. Oh, yeah. So it was a game that I grew up on. I went and I found Merle and I said, would you like to come out of retirement and make a new version? He, for some bizarre reason, agreed. And we sat down, he and I and James Carpio worked together, and we made this new version. The full title is Top Secret New World Order. We just call it Top Secret because that's what everybody knows it by.
Yeah, and it's a great game. It's a different system than the originating game, if I remember correctly.
It is, and that's the kind of fun thing is that Top Secret's different from a lot of long-standing RPGs in that it didn't have a smooth, steady path the whole way. When they went from their first to their second edition, we'll just first to the second edition. I'll keep it simple. We don't have nerds on here yelling at me about technically the second was the third, whatever. When it went from Top Secret to Top Secret SI, they rewrote the rule system. So you couldn't just pick one up and play it with the next one. They were not compatible. So we felt that we had the license to do not the legal license. We had the freedom to do something new as well. We wanted to make it modern for modern gamers, for people. We've learned a lot about designing games over 40 years.
Sure.
So we wanted to actually use some of those things that we learned.
And I think the current setup, the current system, the current dice rules are very interesting and a lot of fun. The way the game is played, they're so integral in a different way than, say, just randomizers. It's a lot more fun, I think, in the way that this is handled in the New World Order. And what I really like, though, is it's ultra modern. So Where
it is,
where we were playing the original Top Secret, we're like, James Bond, thinking, 70s, early 80s, but now ultra modern, full on spycraft in the modern age, and I think you've done a really good job putting this thing together.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's just
really
I
cool.
won't
get too into like the nerdy mathematics of how things do, because I know this isn't that kind of a show, but I will just kind of break it down to a lot of role-playing games. Like you said, it's a little bit of an abstraction. Like, okay, you roll this die, let's see if that works. Maybe there's a percentage chance. We actually break it down into the fact that you have things that you're naturally good at, you have things that you've been trained at, and then you have the chance, what's out there in the world that causes you to succeed or not succeed. So each one of those gets taken into account. You're rolling 3 dice and adding them up. And the fun thing is, you only have to hit one number. You always have to hit a 13. So we call it the Lucky 13 system. And I can teach it to people in literally 2 minutes, and they can get in and start playing spies right away.
Yeah, it is very easy. And I think because of that, it adds to the role-playing aspect of it. You really can get into the spy that you're playing and into the game that's being run. And I've had a chance to sit down with Merle a couple of times, and I've had to back off each and every single time something has come up, and it just kills me because he's such a great guy and runs a great game. I mean, people come away from the table and are like, "Oh, I can't wait to play with him again. I mean, he's just awesome." And if they can't get Merle, they'll get one of you guys or anybody else that's running the game, because they really have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the best person for them to get other than Merle is a guy called Scott Congable. He has played more games of Top Secret than anyone, including Merle, including me. He runs it so many times, and in fact, you were talking about the different things you can do. You and I are not we're not on video right now, but you can see me, so I'm just showing you this book. This book has just come out. It's called the Tradecraft Manual that Scott wrote. So our biggest fan wrote a book. And here's the thing about playing a spy game that's so different. If you're playing a dungeon crawl or any kind of fantasy game, you could just play kick down the door, kill the monsters, take their stuff, and run away. That could be the game. Sure. That's not how a spy game's played. You've got to actually understand, what do I do if I want to find out, the secrets that are happening? How is this even done? Most of us are not spies. If you can't say if you are. And, I mean, I will tell you, I've gotten plenty of people at my table who have different kind of backgrounds in the intelligence world and things like that. They're always fun to play with, but most people don't. And so they don't really understand, well, how do I bug a room? How do I check to see if anybody's been there before, or how do I escape in a car chase? So Scott sat down and he took all the skills that we have in the game, and he wrote them out in great detail with narrative stories and which dice to roll, and we made this almost 300-page book. So what's kind of cool about it is, even if you don't want to play the game, if you just are interested in spies, you could just read the book and learn about spycraft.
That's awesome. That's there's the only game I can think of that's spycraft alone is Top Secret. I mean, I know there's other scenarios out there or
there's other spy games.
Yeah, but they're not. It's like a broader base thing. It's more like an adventure system rather than just spies itself,
Well, I mean, so the one that came out right after Top Secret was the James Bond role-playing game.
Sure,
and that's cool if you want to play like a James Bond type movie, and I think it's really fun, but it's not going to teach you much about being a spy.
Yeah.
And there is a D20 game called Spycraft, and again, it's very much focused on just play it like a movie. Now, you can play it like a movie, but the thing that we take pride in is that we spend a lot of time really researching this stuff and really understanding it and making sure that we are as accurate as possible. So even though the rules are pretty easy to learn, when you're playing it, we want it to feel like you really are being a spy.
Yeah. And I think you do a good job. I really do. Because, again, I played Top Secret when I was a kid, and when you're a kid, you don't really understand the whole depth of everything. And here, as an adult, you can play this thing and really get involved. It's pretty cool.
I think one of the most fun things about tabletop role-playing or or even wargaming or any of that, I actually think that the little arguments at the table about how would that really work, I love that part. You know, where you sit around and you're like, hold on, if you're actually picking a lock with that tool, wouldn't it break off in the lock and everybody gets to have a little argument about it? That's fun. You can't do that with a video game.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And the fun thing is, you know, depending on how you as a game master will run the game, as that discussion is happening and the die roll happens, if it's a terrible roll, then you're like, well,
well, one of the fun things about our game is that we have a mechanism in there where if you have a bad roll, it might succeed, but you still get what we call a blowback, meaning like some dilemma might occur. You might be picking the lock and your set breaks off in the lock pick, or we had somebody who was, you know, climbing a ladder to get up to the place, they make it to the top, and then the ladder breaks, and now nobody can get up with them. You know, those little moments can happen in the game that are a lot of fun.
Failures in the game to me are just as fun as a huge success. You know, it just because those are the things that people will talk about forever. Like, oh, and this happened, and then I lost a finger, and
oh, absolutely. I was running a bunch of people through a hostage situation. They were rescuing hostages from a bank, and one of the players decided to send all the hostages running out. But he forgot that they were wearing the same outfits as the hostage takers, and that didn't turn out too well.
I can imagine. Oh my God, it's just nuts. I mean, and how overall when you were putting Solarian together as a company, I mean, obviously you had the magazine, which we don't need to go down the road of what happened with the magazine.
Sure. Well, we can. We're making it sound like it's a nefarious thing.
No, but
Gygax Magazine was an homage to the Dragon, and we did some beautiful stuff. We brought back artists from Dragon Magazine. We had a lot of the folks from Dragon Magazine. Nothing beautiful can live forever,
right?
And we just enjoy the fact that, nothing weird happened.
No,
we've moved on to making games.
Yeah, and I mean it's all documented on the internet if you really want to go look into the details.
Have fun with that one.
True.
We'll just say that sometimes external forces want to cause drama, and we ran away from the drama. We said we're here to make games.
So you did, and you made some great games. Making some great games.
We have more coming up very soon.
So. In the case of other games, I mean, I know that you have what do you call them? Beer and pretzels games, I guess, is what some people say.
Yes.
You know, so like Grits, which I alluded to at one point.
Sure, I can mention that. So we have some that are just like smaller things. We have a game called Anarchy, where you're playing in a sort of a post-punk, post-apocalyptic world with giant cockroaches and stuff. But then we have more family-oriented stuff. And actually, Kiss My Grits is the game you just mentioned. It's a family card game. It's very just, sit down and have fun. You are all servers working in a greasy spoon diner, and all of the food got mixed up, and you've got to trade with your other players to get the right stuff to take to your table. But wacky things can ensue while you try to do that.
I totally meant to get Polly Holliday's Kiss My Grits soundbite, and I forgot completely.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, it's funny. Some people get that there's a Alice reference. Some people don't. If you do get the reference, it's time to make sure you've had your colonoscopy this year. But it's a fun thing, and I will tell you, we have another thing that's going to be crowdfunding in a couple of months called More Blood. And it is MOAR blood, more blood, and it's kind of like the Running Man. It's just it's a wacky arena slugfest, and all of the characters are actually just clones, so it's okay for them to get blown up because it's not real people. And in fact, the more dramatic your death in the arena, the more points you can get from the audience when they cheer.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. I mean, Kickstarter seems to be the way to really push these publications or games or otherwise out. Is this your first one, or have you done them before?
No. So the only thing we did not crowdfund was our magazine when we first did it, because we were selling subscriptions to that. So we did, in a sense, kind of crowdfund because people bought the subscriptions.
Sure.
But we've crowdfunded all of our products, and it is, like you say, that's kind of how the independent game industry works, for better or worse. I'm glad that people get excited about crowdfunding projects and they're willing to wait, the number of months that it takes to go through all the production and everything. We don't only use Kickstarter. So people they say Kickstarter because that's it's like Xerox for copying, right?
Sure, yeah.
But Xerox Kickstarter has been facing a lot of challengers, and I think the biggest one right now is called BackerKit.
Yep.
They used to be just for people after you finish your Kickstarter, you could get some more stuff. And they said, well, hold on, why don't we just do the whole thing?
Yeah.
So we're going to do our first one with them soon.
Okay.
But if for people who are making games that want to do this kind of thing, I would recommend there is a book that you can get called Crowdfund Your Blankety Blank Life. And I know we're on the radio, so I can't say the full name of it. But if you look for it, it's from Ham and Egg Publishing. That's a friend of ours, John McGuire, who wrote that. And it has everything you need to know in a small book that says, how do I crowdfund a game? It's great. That's what I would recommend.
Okay. Yeah, I with all the people that have been on doing different crowdfunds and how they handle them, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It is so much work.
Yeah, and most of the people I talk to are doing a graphic novel or a comic book or something like that. When you get into the gaming stuff, just like you say, there's the components, there's the box, there's where it's going to be produced, where each item is going to be produced, because it may not be just here in the United States, and in many cases it isn't.
Well, and that's an interesting thing I'd like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But, I would just say that you're 100% right that crowdfunding, it's a lot of work. And it's one of those things I think needs to stay a lot of work, because what you're really doing is you are kind of front loading all the stuff you're about to go through in really making something. Kickstarter and BackerKit and a lot of these others have changed their rules over the years to say people need to be more finished before they launch. They need to have more done. Because back in the day, somebody would just go on with a wacky idea and they'd be like, this is going to be great. And everybody's like, great, I would love to have it. They give them all the money. And then 3 years later, they're still going, hold on, I'm writing it.
Yeah.
That doesn't fly. You've got to be done first. I mean, you and I both know about one that we won't say his name, but it took him 7 years to get this thing out because they couldn't stop piling more ideas on top of it. So we always say you've got to be finished with your product so that when it's time, you're just sending it to the printer and that's it. Because there's so much, if you've never been involved in making a product before, that iceberg is very big under the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did one during COVID, and I knew it was going to take a long time. And even they were warning anybody funding it that it's going to take a little bit longer than they expected just because of the situation with COVID. And then things got weirder because a lot of the factories that shut down lost files or otherwise, And then there was, once things started ramping up, then there was lack of like
paper,
not paper necessarily. Like in the plastics industry, there's certain parts that they need to make the plastics and color the plastics. And
raw materials.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Raw materials. Some of the raw materials just weren't available right away, so it delayed things even worse. And then, of course, the shipping had been delayed and delayed and delayed, so everything was way behind. When I finally got the damn thing, I was shocked, for one. And now
it is always funny when you back a Kickstarter and you forget about it, and then a package shows up one day. I backed something from Steve Jackson Games, and when the box showed up, it was the deluxe super mega box, and it was like 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, and I felt so bad for my poor delivery person. And I was like, what is this huge thing? I didn't order a house.
It makes you laugh, though. You get these things and you go, what was I thinking?
It's kind of like you sent a gift to your future self.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you don't know me too well, do you, past self?
Yeah. And this was a Cyberpunk game, and I bought and it's still sitting in the box. I opened it, and I kind of unpacked it. I did a video for it, which I never released. And then it sits there in the box. I've never actually pulled it out to play it.
But you said about doing things overseas and all that kind of stuff, because we learned when we did our first game, we did a box set, so it was this big complicated thing with lots of stuff in it, had to ship from China. I had to learn all these laws about, what do you do if there's a choking hazard in the box? How do you mention it? How do you tell customs, et cetera, et cetera? And we got through all the stuff. We made it through all the things, the imports. We nearly lost our entire shipment because I failed to fill out one form before the ship left the dock. And they said, well, if you're not allowed to fill it out after the ship leaves the dock, it's somewhere in the South China Sea. You can't do anything about it. They're going to destroy your shipment at the port.
Wow.
And luckily, I had a good importer that helped me through it. But what I've learned from that, number one, is don't do box sets. Unless you're Hasbro, that's really complicated.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But we have moved most of our manufacturing to the United States because we now do just more books than box sets.
Yeah.
So our latest book was printed in Minnesota. It is more expensive, but you also save a lot of other trouble. We found ways to pivot and adapt.
I've seen that with a lot of people, especially with anyone that is easily able to move things, at least to the continent. Even Canada can, at this point now, Canada can be a problem, but at least it's here, and it's not coming over an ocean. And
there's just physical logistical stuff because a ship that, literally things come on a slow boat from China.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Crossing any border is fraught with issues because you just don't know what if the laws change between the time you ordered it and the time it arrives. We're in a very let's say unpredictable world at the moment because we're waiting for adult supervision that hasn't arrived yet. So we just are saying let's just make things as simple as we can.
Yeah, I get it. I totally do, and I hope things really work out when it comes to any future product that you've got coming. Regardless.
Well, like I said, we're sticking with mostly books.
Yeah.
Things that we can produce here. We do have that card game, which will be a little bit of an issue, but it's all fun. I mean, none of this. The world isn't going to end if something goes wrong.
I have another question for you. And I asked. Some of the other guys that have been on that have been into games and producing their own games too, and in the situation now, it's not really going to affect you as much, but I'm kind of curious about it anyway. With 5th edition or whatever they're calling it now, D&D Now or whatever, and
I think they're calling it just 5.5.
Oh, sure, whatever. It's just
Hasbro just said, look, or Wizard said, look, everybody's saying 5.5. Fine, we'll call it that.
Of course, they got to go with the flow, maybe. But with the huge growth that 5th edition was, and there was at least some kind of trickle down with other fantasy games that were out there, people that may have bled out into other games, or even if it was compatible with D&D in some way or another. But I'm kind of curious as to whether you caught any of that wave with Top Secret. Were there people that were just like, we're not interested in D&D, but how cool is it that there's this modern day game that I can easily get into? And was there a bump in interest at some point?
I think what was great about 5th edition, there was a number of things that happened all at the same time, from Critical Role to, the movie later, and just things that 5th edition did. And just the fact that it was a better game. I mean, 5th edition was such a good move for them. So we didn't just, I think just the world saw a lot more people start to play tabletop role-playing games. Some of them came back to tabletop role-playing, but a lot of just brand new players. And so I don't think we got the bump in the sense of somebody saying, well, I don't want to play D&D. I'd like to play Spies instead. I think what we saw instead was, so I've played this D&D game. That's pretty fun. What else is out there? And that's where we get the bump, because it's a very different experience, and it gives people a chance to go, oh, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Cool.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested in seeing that kind of thing because I'm not seeing it much myself anymore. I don't really game at home as often as I used to. Most of the gaming I do now is at the shows. So, when I go to GaryCon or, whatever other event, that's a amount of my gaming unless I call you up at some point and go, "Hey, are you around?"
Exactly.
Which is it's so infrequent. Well, it's so sad.
My D&D game is still first edition, so if you're ready for that.
Oh, that's pretty much all I play. So when it comes to D&D anyway, but I'm so willing to play anything. I've got so many games, and like I play Cyberpunk, and I like their new version, the Red system.
It is good.
It's a nice streamlined version of the old 2020 game. But all those things, I love to dive back into. Even Rollmaster at some point, if anyone was willing to run it, I wouldn't, but I'd play it. But I'm just interested.
Well,
to see...
RuneQuest has a whole new version too, so don't forget that.
Yeah, I guess I got handed a copy of that. I think a couple years ago. It was what was it?
My big one that I'm going to be getting into soon is the Discworld role-playing game, because I'm a huge Discworld fan, and any chance to play in that setting is great too. But that's the thing. There's just an endless number of things out there. Whatever kind of world you want to inhabit, it's out there.
It really is. I mean, I look at my shelf and I look at some of the games that I've picked up and I go, wow, I'd love to run that someday. It's too bad that I bought it 20 years ago and I still haven't run it for anybody or played it with anybody,
If you're a fan of the Dead Milkmen, you can even play a Dead Milkmen role-playing game. There's the I've got it on my shelf and I can't see it right now. Something about the dead cow, but so and I'll mention this later. But so we've got this collective of independent publishers that is called the Analog Union, and everybody in it does completely wild different stuff. One of the guys did that Dead Milkman game, but another one of our members was actually the author of the new Smurfs RPG.
Oh boy!
So if you want to be a Smurf, there is a licensed Smurfs tabletop RPG out there.
Sure, why not?
It's fun, actually.
Is it really?
It actually is really fun. It's Kevin Borup wrote it. He has a system called Burn 2D6 that he uses for his different things. It's very, again, fast and easy to play, and it actually makes a lot of sense in the world of Smurfs.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, we have to take a quick break, Jayson, but why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, Solarian, just about anything. We'll even bring up Analog Union again in the second half.
I think the easiest thing to do for right now is go to topsecretrpg.com.
There you
and
go.
You can get free stuff there, so that's why it's good.
It's a way to start, and then you can open the door and find all the nooks and crannies of everything that you do.
First one's free, kids.
It's just, there's something to that. I don't know what to say to that. That's not going to be naughty. But anyway. All right, this is Pint of Comics. I am your host, Sir Jon. My guest tonight is Jayson Elliot of Solarian Games. I am trying to find there we go, because I need an engineer. It'd be so much easier, but, that's how it goes. So it's a one-man operation for Pint of Comics. This is WESU 88.1 FM on the dial, WESUFM.org. Keep it streamed here, and I have some lovely, nope, we got to stop that. I got some lovely public service announcements once I get things squared away properly like this.
Tune into the Rumpus Room with your host, Lord Lewis the Velvet Knight, and get yourself a taste of the hot sauce mojo explosion, the absolute best in contemporary and vintage funk, soul, jazz, Afro, and Latin dance floor grooves. The Rumpus Room happens every first, third, and fifth Monday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. right here on WESU Middletown 88.1 FM.
Your mom had an accident. I'll take you to her. Uh-oh.
Look, Wild Bill.
Who was that?
Some stranger. He said Donnie's mom was hurt. I didn't know if I should go with him.
Well, just don't do what a stranger says. Check it out with an adult you know. Remember, a stranger
Can mean danger. Now I know.
and knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe! I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of...
It's the realm of Pint of Comics. Oh, Jayson, I wish you could hear that. That's a fun little edit I've done with Dungeon Master from the animated series. It's
Nice.
good stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's always fun. All right, Pint of Comics here on WESU 88.1 FM, WESUFM.org. I am here speaking with Jayson Elliot of Solarian Games. We are going far and wide with the gaming and the new stuff and everything else. And Yeah, why don't you tell everybody what you're going to do after this program?
Oh, right. Yeah. So we have our own little podcast every week that we do live. It's called Table Talk Table Talk. Shut up, Jason. Learn what your own show is called. It's called Tabletop Weekly. And if you go to tabletopweekly.com, you can get it there. Every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we get on and we talk about whatever the stories were in the gaming world that week. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. We don't know, but it was for us. It was our way to make sure that my partner Peter and I at least connected with each other constantly. So we could, we have a deadline every week. We had to do this, and now we have a little crew that comes on and hangs out in the chat and talks with us, and then we put it out as a audio podcast afterwards. And because we have a Patreon, because we're talking about indie publishers, right?
Sure.
With an indie publisher, you got to get every dime everywhere you can to try to keep this thing alive. So in our Patreon, when somebody joins at like $5 a month or higher, we give them a special secret key and they can come to the after party. What that basically means is after our live show, we go on to Discord and we just hang out. And the thing is, for some reason, I decided to start, when we started the show, I started making a tradition of always making an old-fashioned for every episode.
There you go.
And when the episodes get long, I might have a couple of old-fashions. And then when we get into the after party, I'm still putting back the bourbon. So, if you really want to ask me what I really think, that's the place to show up. Wait till I'm 3 drinks in and I'm on Discord just letting loose.
Oh, that's tempting. That is so tempting.
Only $5 a month to watch the monkey dance if you give him some booze.
That is so tempting. Oh my Lord. That I don't know. I mean, when it comes to gaming and us adults, at least, we do enjoy our beverages of whatever they are. Malort.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I had some of that last week. But, it just seems to be the way of things these days. Like, we as a home group, not to get too far off topic here, but we as a home group, for Gary Gygax's birthday, we used to do a gin game. Like
a gin game?
Yeah, because...
You're not talking about gin rummy.
No, we're talking about D&D and gin. And
I do love a good gin.
Yeah, and it was fun for a while. It got a little crazy sometimes, but it was just to celebrate Gary's existence and what he did for us. People forget sometimes, like, this is a guy, and he's not the only one, but this is a guy that got a lot of unusual people together socially to play a game and continue to exist for a long period of time. I mean, our group was together for 20 years.
Yeah, there's a phrase that I hear in a lot of different communities that I love a lot. It's just your found family.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When you get out there in the world and you find the people that care about the things you care about and that are weird in the same ways you're weird, that's another family for you.
Yeah, and you're a lot of weird. I mean,
oh yeah, I got weird on every level. You just asked me which direction to go.
I mean, you did publishing outside of gaming. You were you have your own musical interests and such, and you're just another cog in the machine of this great gaming world of weirdos. It's so much fun.
That's the thing, is that whatever world I'm working in, I sort of find the same types of people, the ones that are a little bit off the center, I just like to say the sort of people that ask questions, that before they do something, they go, well, why am I doing this? And so, yeah, as you said, I got started in music. I was in bands, and then I started a music zine, which became a real music magazine. Mm-hmm. And that led me into music podcasting and all these different types of things. So when I got into gaming, I already had this publishing and podcasting history behind me and just brought it over there. And now, we mentioned Analog Union before, and I'll talk about it. But the thing about this group of people is that when we get talking about things, yeah, we all have gaming in common. But then it turns out, oh, well, maybe we have the same kind of background in punk or goth or weird free jazz or something. Or, we collect the same kind of obsolete computers or bizarre 10 horsepower cars that shouldn't be on the road, whatever it might be. There's always some sort of strange obsession in there that people can bond over.
It's kind of funny, when you think about it, the people that sit at your table and you go, well, that guy's a computer mathematician, that guy is a creator when it comes to blacksmithing, that guy is a teacher, a history teacher, or and you go on and on and on. You get these people that do things in their lives that are so unusually different, but we all gather together because we have some similar interest in gaming and then otherwise. So, like you say, it's just
exactly right.
Games are so much fun. It's fun to talk about it. It's been a while since I've talked about games. There's been a lot of comics and books and stories and stuff lately. It hasn't been too much gaming since since March, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with gaming is it's funny because you need to say what kind of gaming sometimes you're talking about. Some people say, I'm a gamer. Well, hold on a second. Does that mean you go to Las Vegas a lot? Does it mean that you like to play pool? Do you play video games? Are you a chess player? Are you a war gamer? All these kind of things. There's just an endless number of things it could mean. So we kind of have to remember sometimes, well, which kind of gamer are you? Yep. It's almost like that joke about, what are you, Catholic or Protestant? Protestant, Lutheran or Northern Lutheran or Southern Lutheran. Pretty soon you're down to the lowest level splitter. But that's the way it kind of is with gaming. But it cross pollinates a lot more, because there's parts of gaming that I was never interested in before that just being in those spaces makes me go, I didn't know Euro games were fun. The board games that are called Euro games. Yep. Or I had no idea that historical miniatures wargaming could be fun to me. And you discover these new things. I haven't LARPed yet, but that could happen. Yeah,
I think LARPing for me, the only thing I ever really did was like those mystery games, the hidden villain kind of game they have for like dinner parties and stuff. That's about the amount of LARPing I've ever done. But you think about it sometimes when you're at the table and you start getting involved in your game and you stand up and you're doing your character's voice or acting it out however you want to, it gets pretty...
that's pretty LARPy.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
But, there is one thing I want to say about that, because a lot of times when I'm talking to people who have never played a tabletop role-playing game before, and just as a side note, it tears me up. I have to keep adding the word tabletop to it because it's just a role-playing game. If you're playing it on a computer, it's a computer role-playing game. Can we bring that back?
I think
role-playing games role-playing games are what you play at the table. If you're on your screen, it's a CRPG. Anyway, if I talk to somebody who's never played one of these kind of role-playing games before, a lot of times I'll hear someone feel a little intimidated. So we have a bookstore here that a friend of mine owns. She's retired, has all of her friends are that age. They've never heard of this before, but she knows what I do. And so she said, that game you make, would you ever want to run this for us? I'm like, absolutely. And one of them said, well, what do I have to do? Do I have to dress up? I'm like, well, if you like, but you don't have to. And the thing I always try to let people know is that if you're not comfortable doing a funny voice or inhabiting the role, you just want to say, my character does this thing, that is so legit.
Absolutely.
100% valid. Yep. You don't have to get into character if you don't want to. And if somebody else wants to, they can. It's completely do what feels right.
You could always be like the late, great Tim Kask. Are you doing a funny voice? Well, cut that out.
Oh, yes.
He was great at that. Like, none of that. Just roll the dice.
No funny voice at my table.
Tim was something else. I do want to bring up your compadre in arms there, Peter, because talk about a guy that likes to get dressed up and do some fun things at events. Because that year at what was that? Rising Phoenix, when he was the game show host with the...
what I like is that Peter's a good sport, and if I'm like, hey Peter, when you run the thing, I have an outfit for you. So I went and all right, so here's the thing. So Peter Bryant, we have been working together as business partners for a number of years now, and he's a great guy. Well, he better be, otherwise why am I working with him? But anyway, he has a game that was originally called Cube of Death, and now we're calling it Tis But a Scratch. But basically what it is a dungeon crawl, which means, go through the dungeon, fight the monsters, take their stuff. But the way you fight is by answering trivia questions. And so we decided, well, why don't we make this a pub quiz kind of thing and set it up? And I'm like, well, if we're going to do that, you're going to dress up as a 1970s game show host. I'm going to Richard Dawson you up. And so I went out and I got his sizes and I started hitting the thrift stores and I got him a wig and the whole thing. And I was like, you going to put this on? He's like, yes, I am. And he did a great job. He's good at that. I don't know if I would.
It was, he was really good at it. It was an awfully loud suit. It was so perfectly 70s. And then the wig.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's just these things that are so entertaining at events like this. And it just makes the experience all that much more fun. It's one of the things I like to do is tell people, like, if you haven't done an event like Rising Phoenix or like Total Con or anything in the area here in the Northeast, you don't necessarily have to go to one of the big shows like Gen Con. Just go to one that has
you shouldn't
few hundred.
Actually.
Honestly.
Okay, it's fun to go to a PAX East or a Comic Con or a Gen Con sometimes, but I think that those can be so overwhelming.
They are, yeah. They really
you're in there with just so many people and oh my gosh, they're just a super spreader event anyway. But aside from that, I really believe in the small cons. And we run one. So we actually decided to get into that ourselves. We did our first one this year and we called it ModCon, as in the modern gaming convention.
Yep.
So we just play, because our game is what they call a modern. It's set in the modern age, and usually you go to these, and if you like fantasy or sci-fi, you're set. They're all over the place, but it's hard to find the games that are not those genres.
Right.
And there's so many good ones out there. Well, even like Call of Cthulhu is a modern.
Sure.
So we call moderns anything set in the 20th century or the 21st century. We said let's celebrate just those. And we did our first event up in Northampton, Massachusetts. We kept it really simple because I just wanted to learn how to do one of these. And it was fun. It was a good time. And so we decided we're going to do this every year. And so I don't have a place. If you go to modcon.games, you'll see the sign up for this last year. So that's not going to help you much. But we'll put links up later.
Yeah.
But basically, we're doing another one next spring here in Cheshire, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah?
And it's going to be much bigger. We're going to have cool events going on. We're going to be doing a live public access broadcast TV show from the convention, done by another of our great Analog Union brothers, Joey Royale.
Okay.
And if you want, he'll be there as either Lord Blood or Mysterio X. I don't know which character he'll be in character for, but we'll be doing zine workshops and we're going to be doing a crowdfunding workshop. It'll be a lot of fun stuff. I wish I had a place to send people, but we'll come back on later and talk about it.
Absolutely, because I think I want to be part of that. Especially
we would love to have you.
It's right in my backyard. It's Cheshire. It's really, it's just down.
Yeah, I'll just give a bartender your picture so they know to cut you off when you walk in the door.
Let me start a tab first.
Like, what? How does my reputation precede me?
Never. They don't call this Pint of Comics for nothing.
Exactly.
No, that's great though. I mean, these small shows really are it's the bread and butter for me of gaming anywhere in any format. If you like board games, there's a con out there for you. If you like card games, there's a con out there for. And when I mean card games, I mean like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Oh boy, if you like Magic, boy, is there a con out there for you. There's those massive tournaments. Oh my gosh, it's bigger than esports.
I'm surprised at the. Well, I'm not really surprised, but I am surprised at the continuing size and popularity of both of those games. Pokemon and Magic. It's just amazing to me because Magic has gone through ups and downs, but somewhere, and it wasn't that far off from when 5th edition came out and just sparked a whole new interest in gaming or tabletop gaming, that the Magic game was really starting to take off again as well.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean it is still much bigger than Dungeons and Dragons from a financial perspective, even though D&D might be more well known in some ways. But I have a theory about that. The whole thing with Magic getting well and all those other things. Something I've noticed. So I meant, we've talked about music and things like that. I go to lots of shows still, and a lot of the bands I like are new bands, and sometimes they'll play all ages shows. And when I go to the all ages shows, the thing I notice is that all of the kids who are like, you know, high school, college age and at these things, there's not a single one of them pulling out a smartphone. And you feel like it would be weird to do that because they want to be at the show. And you go over to the merch booth and they're selling zines that they stapled together, and they're selling cassette tapes. And I talk to a lot of people around, like, what's going on with the Zoomers, right? You know, what's going on with Gen Z? And you know what it is that every generation rebels against the one that came before.
Sure.
So the millennials were saying, like, let's all make everything super digital. And the Gen Z is going, well, no, then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to make everything in person. And they want to play games at a table with each other. And they want to make a zine. And actually, they're going to movie theaters even. You know, it's a cyclical thing.
Yeah, I gotta say that the zine scene, as it were,
the zine scene.
Yeah, I had no idea that
Gene, the mean zine, the dancing machine.
I just had no idea it had grown so large again. I mean, where there's actual conventions of zines, just zines, and that's why we're going to be doing a workshop. You know, because zines are my first love. Yeah.
And we're going to be doing a workshop. We have a great local Connecticut fella that's going to be. I got to get my pronouns right. Person, they, them. So anyways, we have some great local Connecticut folks that are going to be helping run this zine workshop where we're going to have all the materials you need, and you don't even have to know how to do one. You just come in, we'll teach you. And you can just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about games. Maybe you want to make a zine about your cat or about the person who did a nice thing for you a week ago, you know, or the fact that you think that clouds are nicer when they're slightly orange. Whatever you like.
It's not far off, because the zines I've seen out there are just, as you say, all across the board. Anything that anybody wants to put into a zine, it's there and it's available. You know, it's somebody that.
You know what it is in the early 2000s, in the era of MySpace, things like social media were very self-expressive.
Yeah.
People could make a website for themselves. You can still, but you know, people did. They made their own websites, and they made their MySpace pages where you could put anything you wanted, you know, it could be as ugly and tacky and gaudy as you wanted. It was yours.
Yep.
And then, you know, we get social media that comes along and it's better. You know, Facebook is very clean and that you're not going to look gaudy anymore. And now where can people get self-expression? Yeah, you can have an Instagram or you can have a TikTok. But first of all, not everybody wants to be on TikTok. Not everybody feels pretty, you know. And same with Instagram. It's too fake. Whereas now you've got kids, you know, 21-year-old's a kid or 16-year-old, whatever.
To us.
Who are, you got kids who are like, look, I want to express myself. I want to make something that's mine, that I made with my own hands, that is not a corporate overlord controlling it for me. I don't want to give my money to Zuckerberg or Bezos or Musk or whichever person they don't want to give their money to. And I just want to make something that's mine. Yeah. And I think that's such a healthy, wholesome, great energy that's happening now.
And I look at it, you know, many years ago when there was the small press of comic books and the zine folks. They were doing little tiny stapled together things. They were, like you said, they were Xeroxing in their backyard, basically, and selling it at a table for, you know, however many small pennies that they were selling it for. Because Matt Feasel and his stick figure groups, you know, stick figure comics, that's how he started his stuff. And
that's the thing. You don't, and again, you know, here we are in the age of generative AI, when anybody can just type in a prompt and have something look as. But now there's no value in that. So now there's way more value in saying, I made this with my own two hands. I can't draw, but I did this anyway.
Right.
And people love it.
Yeah, and it's great. It really is great. I was so surprised to learn about this whole zine movement, and I learned about it in a graphic novel of all places. And I'm asking,
that's great.
You know, and I'm asking a creator about it. He's like, yeah, there's this whole zine movement. You really got to look into it. And so I did, and wow, am I surprised at it. And it's really cool.
And it makes sense with the comics, too, because I've never been a comics guy when it comes to reading, like, Marvel comics or whatever. I just can't follow it all. It's too many things to keep up with. But I have always loved, maybe once they were called underground comics, and later they were called just self-confessional comics or zine comics or whatever. But you had people like Peter Baggage,
Yep.
Babbage, Baggage or Babbage? The guy who did Hate.
Yeah.
Or Diane DeMassa, who did Hothead Paisan, homicidal lesbian terrorist.
It's been a long time.
I found out she lives in Connecticut.
Does
she
she?
just did an event. I got to go and meet her, somebody who was my hero when I was little. The guy who I changed the spelling of my name. My name's Jayson, it always has been, but I added a Y to it because there was an underground comic called Jayson and it had a Y, and I thought that looked good. And I met the guy who did that recently. I'm like, you're responsible for me spelling my name this way. Anyways, the point is, like, that whole world of underground comics is so much more fun. People can talk about whatever they feel like talking about. And I guess a lot of it kind of goes back to like Harvey Pekar or something, saying you don't have to tell a story. You can just say what you did for the day. And it's just nice to see that sort of thing thriving.
Absolutely. I'm such an indie comics fan. It doesn't matter where it gets published or how it gets published. It's just, as long as it's interesting to me, I'm always going to reach out to the creatives and put them on. I am a fan of the supers, but I've drifted away from them so much lately. It's just
there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't get it.
Not everybody's interested in them. Comics are for everybody. In some way, there's something
some kind of comic, yeah. Well,
yeah.
and that's the thing is there is I think a big kind of crossover between zines, comics, and games.
Oh,
because
absolutely, yeah.
In the independent game publishing world that I'm part of, people will make a game about anything. It started by saying we're going to kill a dragon, but now a role-playing game doesn't even have to have any kind of combat or story or anything like that in it. There's one I picked up recently. It was a solo role-playing game about having ADHD.
Wow.
And it was basically just trying to, you would go through, and it was a journaling game, and you kind of journal how you do things, and you could use this to kind of help other people understand what you're going through. Huh. And yeah, it had game mechanics in it, but it also is kind of like a comic because it's drawn like a comic, but it's also kind of a zine because he did it all himself, and it doesn't need to have any boundaries. I guess it's an interactive form of self-expression is what it is.
That's wonderful. It really is. I love
to see it.
I love learning about this stuff. This is another reason I do these programs, is because there's stuff that my guest will always bring to me that I have no knowledge of, and
it's sitting on the shelf behind me. I can't quite reach it, but it's called something like "My Brain is a Plate of Scrambled Eggs" or something like that. That's not exactly right, but it's along those lines.
Yeah, it's very modern too, because you get into the manga or manga, however you want to pronounce it. It's some of those titles are so ridiculously long.
I don't know much about any of those. I know about One Piece, and that's all I know. I've never. I don't really know. I'm
lacking myself, but I try and reach out as much as I can when I have the chance. I'm actually reading one that's this was it Tower Dungeon. It's basically a group of people going into a tower, and it's a dungeon crawl essentially.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons I picked it up. Is like, oh, I'll check this out, and it's really out there and crazy.
So maybe it's a little bit of lit RPG.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people. I know Dungeon Crawler Carl. That is a very hard thing to say.
It is.
Dungeon Crawler Carl has been a huge breakout hit. I don't personally like it, but that's irrelevant. And that's basically that genre, which is you're reading a book and it's about people playing a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the book story is I played the game.
But
good for them.
I have the book. I haven't read it yet. I'll sit down at some point. I'm way behind on my reading.
If I ever mention I don't like it, I get it. 15 people within earshot all tell me why I'm wrong, and I'm fine with that. I mean, well, you know what? Ready Player One was kind of lit RPG too.
True.
But there's a great podcast called That's 347 Pages We'll Never Get Back Again. And the podcast was started just to make fun of Ready Player One, and now they make fun of every bad book. So at least there's other people that agree with me somewhere.
You don't have to like everything. I keep telling people You just don't have to. It's okay.
Sometimes it can be really fun to not like something if you can find someone to just enjoy not liking it with together.
Yeah. And it's always fun to poke the people that maybe like it and you don't, and just go at them sometime. Let's not go there.
I won't. I'd rather poke the people who make it. The people who are if you're making $10 million off of something, you can handle me criticizing it a little bit.
Absolutely.
But if somebody really loves one of these books, I'm not going to get down on them for loving it. I like a bunch of stuff that other people think is ridiculous. Just watch some of the bad 1970s British sitcoms that I watch and tell me I'm not an idiot for liking it. It's fine. It's fine.
All right, we gotta go, Jason. Unfortunately, we gotta let Uncle John and his dead air come back onto the program here, and we gotta let things fly. So why don't you tell everybody once again where they can find you?
Yeah, just go to topsecretrpg.com. And like I said, we've got the game there, and we've got a bunch of free PDFs. You can actually download and play the game for free and see if you like it or not.
There you go. The door is open for any of you listeners to head right over there and check it out. Hey, Jason, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely. All right, this has been Pint of Comics here on WESU. Of course, stay tuned for Uncle John and the greatest live Grateful Dead show on the East Coast, because it's been a couple weeks since I've seen you. No comment. See you. All right, we're out. We'll see you next week.